Hello, smilers, campers, and amazing human beings. I am so grateful today to be sitting here with Alan Stevens, Mars, John Craig will hopefully be on soon. Actually, he's on now. I love that. That's just true. There we go, John Craig. How are we, you amazing human beings? Mars, how are you today?
Mate, I've had a really busy day, but today was such a beautiful day to walk on the beaches of the Northern Rivers early in the morning, saying hello to this one and that one, and walking the dog. I tell you what, I was off to a good start. Plenty of
Did
clients
you?
today, plenty of happy faces, lots of good conversations, and uh, looking forward to tonight. Whatever we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, giddy up. Thank you. Alan Stevens, how are you?
Pretty good, thanks. Oh,
Sorry.
Johnny, you just do what you want to do there, mate. You jump up
yeah.
and down there. We'll try and listen to Al as you do that.
He's really keen to get into the action. Good to see.
As you were, Al.
Yeah. So, what was the question, Scott?
How are you, mate?
How am I? Pretty good. Yeah, we had some really great days up in Queensland and in the Northern Rivers, and I've had two extremely busy days since I got back, and the impact of the Northern Rivers is just starting to hit me now. So I'm feeling a little bit mellow as well at the same time.
Yeah, I love hearing that, and I'm looking forward to opening up that conversation because it's had a significant impact on all of us. I feel. John, how are you, mate?
Oh, I'm great now. now,
Now
now
you finished doing your renovations?
Hey,
Now you finished doing your renovations there?
pretty much. Yeah, no, I'm great. I was. We were rushing around a bit yesterday and everything, so I've just taken it easy today. So, actually had a little nana nap this Savo even. So, I'm ready. I'm good.
Giddy up, and that's the same
Johnny,
for me.
yeah,
It's been a lot of energy.
I'm just.
I'm gonna keep talking. I'll hold you back a bit. So, because it's been a bit the same for me because it's been a massive weeks in the last week since Friday, since arriving up in Brisbane, to the point where I was exhausted last night, and I'm going to get an early night again tonight because what has transpired over the last week has been phenomenal. And we're just talking off air then about what my greatest memory of the weekend, of the 3 days we spent together. And by far, believe it or not, it was actually standing there with 4 other men at the Taki Taki, the Indigenous Bora ring. And the reason for that was because I stood there with 4 other men who are deeply entrenched in my heart, 2 of whom I'd never met before this trip. And yet we stood there as men just in silence. I was waiting for some big profound thing to come my way to feel something special, but it wasn't until I left that sacred place that I realised we were what was special. Mm-hmm. We were what I was there to be there for. So for that, I'm so grateful tonight to be sitting here having this conversation about what we've just experienced. Unfortunately, Shorty can't make it tonight. I think we burned him out.
Wife probably wants to see it.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And just on his wife, Nat Short, what an amazing thing she did. The meals she cooked for us and the love that she sent them with was wonderful. So massive shout out to Mel. Sorry, to Nat Short. There you go. Looking at the comments. So, but I'm going to start with a big question. And the big question is, what did your heart feel during this adventure we just went on? What did your heart feel? Mars.
Look, I'm going to step away from cliches. And you know what? I've found a bit of a sweet spot this last couple of months, just being present where I'm at and whatever I'm doing. And I really enjoyed being present with the person who was in front of me that I was talking to. I didn't have an agenda. There was no judgment. I was just really just enjoying not having to do anything but just be in their presence and listen intently, whatever that conversation, how that story or that person's story unpacked. It was just nice to be in that nice neutral position where you're not trying to fix anybody. You're just trying to the idea is there is just to listen and encourage them to say, hey, there's another day on the horizon. You'll be fine. So I just love that. I love spending that time with you fellas. Absolutely, I did. I would have liked to have spent a little bit of more time talking to each one of you, but we'll do that again another day.
Yeah, we will. Thank you, Mars. Alan.
Oh, what's my heart feeling? There was so many different emotions that were going on with, with people, first of all, honouring us with allowing us to hear their stories, to open up, to trust us and share. That really got to me because, as I say, as a profile, a couple of things is that everybody wears a mask and everybody pretends they're not wearing a mask. And for those people to actually drop their mask and so quickly was extremely special. It wasn't just them as well. As I said, I came back early because I had presentations to do here in Central Coast and in Sydney. But last night I gave a presentation, and the person who, one of the people I picked out of the crowd to profile, I picked up very quickly. There was some stuff going on. Then when I paired with him later on, I could see that he'd been broken by COVID. And so I'm still carrying around socks in my bag wherever I go. And he got a pair of socks and the conversation flowed from there. So what really got to me was that it had a big impact on me. As I said today, I'm a little bit more mellow than what I was the other day. I was out there and doing things. But it's given me time to reflect and realise that how privileged we were to have people share their stories with us. And it was also a privilege to be with you men as well. And yes, there was a lot of crap conversation going on as well, stirring and all the rest of it, which was a lot of fun as well. So that allowed, I think that was necessary. Otherwise, it would have been emotion overboard if we didn't have those breaks at that time, because connecting with those people was extremely special and very humbling in the whole process.
Yeah, beautiful. And thank you, Papa.
Yeah.
I just want to say a massive thank you for A, being there, B, scaring the shit out of Shorty.
Oh, that was a privilege.
That was a special moment, and I can't wait for the replay on that one. But just, like making the effort to come up, and because it's important. And I really appreciate that. So, beautiful. John.
Oh, what was the question again? What did my heart feel? Yeah. Just warm. Like it was, just being around people doing it tough and being able to contribute something to their lives, even briefly, was just amazing. It was everyone we met was so open, and I think definitely the socks are such a good icebreaker and opening for them to have a conversation and realize that we're gifting them something and they're gifting something back to us. They're allowing themselves to give something back of themselves. So Yeah, and it was amazing. It was. I almost miss van life.
Almost.
Well,
Bed. Well, I had
exactly.
a good bed in the van actually. But it was yeah, going back to the heart. Yeah, it's just open and just humble to the level of struggle that people have gone through, and as I said, just to be able to offer them something different for a few minutes, an hour of their lives, and get them out of that loop of despair, I guess.
Mm.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, and I love that. I want to share with you where my heart's at with this. I'm just going to try and figure out whose microphone is actually making all the noise. If that's all right. Just give me a sec. Yep, there it is. Sorry, sorry, John. Just give me this. When I bring you on, I'm going to unmute you when we go through it, just because the back reverb going on. If that's all right, John. Yep, cool. Yeah. So that's all right. I love it. But I want to reiterate what Alan said, because I am so damn grateful that people open up to us. To have the opportunity to look somebody in the eye and have them share their story with you, and just be present with that emotion and them is one of the greatest gifts I've ever received. And it's so deeply entrenched in my heart that every single conversation I have with people, I can, their faces are in my, I can see them. Because I look them dead in the eye as they shared their story. And it just opened up my heart so much. There was one moment in particular that I actually debated whether or not I was going to share this, but I want to, because the level of trust and gratitude that I have for this person that I met, couldn't quite get his socks on. So I was gifted the opportunity to put them on for him. And I was so proud to do that for him. I was so proud that he understood what we were there for, and I'm so proud that he was vulnerable enough to let me. I'll never forget that. Yeah. So we're going to take a half breath, and I'm actually going to recite some poetry, because I have a book of poetry that has been one of the greatest gifts. And if you've been watching anything we've been doing, I've been doing a little bit of poetry, because one of the guys that we met gifted his life's work as a truck driver. So today I'm going to read to you The Old Man in Waterland by Bill Tompkins, 11th of June 2004. Dozing in my cozy chair, morning sun on my silver hair, bees buzzing around, blossoming flowers, Sunday bells ringing tall in church towers, pretty birds in leafy trees nesting, springtime sunbeams on green grass resting, happily playing on the lawn below, my two grandsons, Luke and Bo. I open one eye to have a peek. What are they playing? Okay, hide and seek. Hide and seek on a coral reef. What I see is beyond belief. Playing in water, it can't possibly be. Crystal clear water as far as I could see. Luke and Bo running and jumping around, talking to each other, making bubbles for sound. Water everywhere from the ground to the sky, clear water with bubbles and swish, fish swimming by. Over the garden and over the house, a catfish swims by, chasing a mouse. The boys drifting by, riding a blue shark. Up on the fence, a squid sings to the lark. One fish drives an ambulance shell. Another beside him rings the brass bell. An octopus there, one with a broken arm, and a big spotted groper to raise the alarm. Tiny fish skating on the veranda rail, sliding towards them, a shiny pink snail. Animals and birds, insects and fish, all there together like some magic wish. The ones that walk and the ones that fly in this water wonderland, and yet they stay dry. Bugs and beetles playing on the grass stop for the seahorse as they pass. Riding on each seahorse on saddles of gold, tiny sea nymphs, what a sight to behold. It's hard to believe, but I'm telling you, they're all dressed in uniforms, red, white, and blue. Their King Neptune guards the best of the best, the pretty sea nymphs wearing King Neptune's crest. King Neptune sits on a throne of carved coral, multicolored stripes, spotted and floral. Gentle sounds rising from holes in the sand, underground creatures making music so grand. Eels and starfish, sea dragon and whale, dance with rabbit and a peacock, lizard and quail. Circling slowly a mermaid and a king, waltz their way through summer, winter and spring. I see all this wonder from my ease of my chair. Where am I? Am I here or am I there? I call to the boys and hold out my hand. It's time to leave this water wonderland. But how do we leave? Where do we go? We're already home, that much I know. Are we at home or could we be that there are somewhere else? Don't ask me. They danced up to me, the mermaid and the king. Hold out your hand, he said. Here, take this ring. The ring in my hand felt warm and good. Everything changed, and there we three stood. No more water or seaweed, jellyfish or seals. No more rabbit or peacocks, octopus or eels. The way it was, the way things were, the things that happened, just a blur. I look at the trees where the birds are singing. In the distance I hear the Sunday bells ringing. I look at the boys and my legs go weak. They're still out there playing hide and seek. I shake my head. I must have been dreaming. I look at my hand, something gold and gleaming. In my hand, this sparkly ring given to me by the underwater king. Part of me feels a little guilty for reading another man's work. But my heart tells me that he's just singing because we are. I'm just so damn grateful for that. So I want to embrace what was. So I'm going to ask each of you for something that I really would like people to feel. 3 things that touched your heart. 3 moments that you can bring back to the table for us to all sit and feel. So I'm going to ask you, John, if you can come on first, please, mate.
Okay.
3 moments.
Oh, wow. I think the first one I can remember is yesterday, just the most recent one. And it was when we visited the community centre in Mullumbimby, and we got all their staff outside and took photos with the socks and everything. And the woman who was the main contact, can't remember her name now, but she was just speechless about, she couldn't put into words how grateful they were for what we were doing. And that really just hit me and made me realize that we are doing something special here, and they do something special every day for their community. But to have us come in and actually acknowledge them and offer them something was just amazing. And yeah, she couldn't put it into words. I was watching her trying to articulate it, but she was very emotional. And so that was one. Like the whole trip was great, and like you said before, I actually, a big part of it was doing it with you guys, and just we all had each other's backs, and we just did it. We got out there and did what we needed to do, and it just ran so smoothly. I mean, from where I could see, and through the windscreen of the van, a few blokes running along the road, but it was just a real honor to actually be able to do that. And the last one was the first pair of socks I actually gave out, I think was in Evans Head in the IGA. And I walked up to a woman and I said, "Look, I just want to thank you for doing your best at the moment." And she looked at me and she goes, "How do you know I'm struggling?" And I said, "Well, we're all going through tough times." And she proceeded to tell me that she'd lost her husband only a month ago and a brother. And she was just so, to be seen was just so amazing for her to receive what we were offering. And yeah, it was this amazing moment in a supermarket. Like, she wasn't expecting anyone to sort of accost her in the frozen goods section, but it just highlights the importance of talking to people and wherever they are, and just offering something. So yeah, that they're the ones that come to mind, but there's many others, and it was just an absolute honor to be able to do that and spend that time.
Brilliant. Thank you, John. Alan?
Well, I think, first of all, John, having somebody in the frozen food section and being able to warm their heart with the conversation, and that I think is quite magic. It started with the beginning with when we got to Evans Head, and it was a connection. Finally, you and James, were connecting with each other, and the laughter that started right then and kept on going right through the whole process of all the time that I was there. That was pretty special to know that you two guys put this together, not having met each other until that moment. And that was 2 years ago or thereabouts that you started this whole process. So that was pretty special. Also, driving the safety vehicle behind you on that first day and watching the two of you waddling along and jogging along and having a go at each other and stirring each other just added to that whole first impact. It showed the camaraderie and the support that was there all the way through, and the good hearts of people wanting to help other people. And that extended into the IGA as well, because I know that somebody gave one of the shoppers a pair of socks, and he was standing. I looked back through the door and saw he was talking to Mitchell, who was at the checkout serving him. And he's looking at the socks and asking him where he got them. I think he was trying to find a barcode, but then there wasn't one on them. But they were having a bit of a chat, and he was telling him all about the story that, as he understood it, and the excitement that Mitchell had, and the fact that he couldn't see us there. It was just him and this other guy. So he was completely wrapped and connected to the story that was being told to him. And then he was, so I walked back in and gave him another pair. And so he had a pair for himself, and he was so excited with that. And the fact that then you asked us to take more back because you've been talking to him as well. And he wanted to hand those out to shoppers and explain to them the story. So it showed that the compassion that we have for each other is contagious. And that was something that was extremely special to know that was not just being done by us in that moment, but just flowing on from other people as well. And I think that was extremely important. But it's also the quiet time that we were able to have. And at Tucky Tucky, that was quite special as well, because I could feel the energy from each of you standing around the Bora Circle, not fully understanding what it's about, and me not explaining what I know about it, but just sharing in that time together. And I think the whole process has brought us closer together. It's brought us closer to other people, and I think it's brought other people closer to each other as well. So the whole lot. You ask damn hard questions. What were three major, top things? Oh, bloody lot was tops. Come on.
Look, I appreciate that, but I like to get into these hard questions and really picks things out, because the whole trip was amazing. There's no two ways about it. Like, it's the way in which we touched hearts, touched our own hearts, filled our gaps, filled our own personal gaps by connecting with people. It's just phenomenal. But if we pick those three key elements, it sends us back to that moment. And I can feel that when we're sharing them. And I'm hoping that the viewers can feel that too. So thank you, Papa. Muzz, over to you.
All right, three things. All right. First thing is, look, I'll start with us fellas. I hadn't met you, Scotty, before. I hadn't met Alan, and I hadn't met John. So it was lovely to spend 3 days with men that I really don't know, but reasonably quickly I realised that we're all pretty much on the same page. Is that we were all encouragers. We all had a heart to encourage others, and that was the one thing that stood out to me. And there's a sense there that we will like other people, that we see in others that we like about ourselves. And I enjoyed the fact that even though amongst the laughter and the carry on, particularly in the van, there was that real sense of camaraderie, and a real sense that we're here to encourage others. And I think we pulled that off pretty well. And there's a lot more to go. Look, the second thing is I really enjoyed talking to a lady by the name of Rachel. She was at Evans Head, and even the lady at Lismore. I've forgotten her name now, but these women are they travel long distances and they leave their families behind, and they come to these centres, recovery centres, and they put their whole heart and soul into taking care of others. And I had some wonderful conversations, and I asked some interesting questions. I'm like, how did you decide that this is what you wanted to do? But it was almost like it was a calling. It was almost something that they were fatigued towards the end, and they were looking going home to their families. And some, they had husbands and they had children, or some of them just had going home to their cat. But they were there with a sense of purpose, and I believe that their hearts are in the right place. And it was important for me, all of us, to talk to them and just check in on them as well. How are you doing? Dealing with everybody's stories and the heartache that's going on. What do you say to a person who says, the rented house that I was in has been condemned and I have no idea where I'm going to go and I have nothing nothing materialistically that I can take, even if I got a place. So there was, for a person who's in a position, they're not there to solve a person's problems. They can't solve a person's problems, and yet they're still there on the front line. And they're listening to those stories day in and day out. And we blow in and we blow out, but they're there weeks listening to these stories and trying to do their very, very best, even though they've got their life. So I was really impacted by those people as well. And I think the third thing is, Scotty, is, when you're at Evans Head, excuse me, and you pull out your pen, and you ask one of the people there, I said, how much is that pen worth? And I think they were sort of struggling with the question, what did you actually mean by that? I'm sure they thought to themselves, I don't think he means $1.25. I'm pretty sure he means something a little bit bigger than that. And of course it was, and they knew that. But you had a chance to expand on the importance of a person's story and how valuable that was to you personally, as you wrote your story, and how it getting it on paper somehow helped you to get through your past, and just the impact on those people sort of saying, look, could I have 3 pens, because I've got 3 kids, because kids have stories too. So I was impacted by all of those. And yes, Alan's right. There's a lot, but they're the 3 that just comes to mind.
Giddy up. Thank you, Mus. And I'm actually going to reserve my 3 things, if that's okay, for Shorty and I, because Shorty and I are going to do a wrap up where we're going to dive into it in a really deep way, because it's had such a profound impact on both of us. And I'm pretty sure we can all nod our heads in the aspect that it's had a profound impact on all of us. And it's just the way in which we've come together to make something happen that's just so phenomenal. And I'm just so proud of that. So I'm just going to jump over to John for a sec, because John invested in this weekend, in these 3 days. John invested his hard-earned cash to make this happen. And I want to understand the value that we provided John with. So, John, if you could, the return on your investment.
So I'll just go back a bit. It feels like a full circle thing to me, in the fact that I actually used to work for Queensland Government in Department of Communities in an office job. And I used to send money out. I'd push buttons and send money out to communities, to organisations, to do this, to do the groundwork, to do all that. And I never connected what I did in an office to what was happening out there until when the Brisbane floods happened 10 years ago, 2011. Our building went under, or part of it, and all the power went out for like a whole month. So we were sort of sitting at home the first couple of weeks wondering what we were supposed to be doing. And we were formed into teams. We went out in 4-wheel drives into flood-affected areas. There was a lot of red tape that was abandoned so that we could actually write checks on the spot for people that needed them. And that, in 9 years of working for the government, that was the most rewarding thing I ever did in my time there. And when this happened, I realised that, hey, I'm in a position where I can actually help with my own money. And then I was offered the opportunity to actually come along, which was even better. So I mean, I jumped at the opportunity. So it's been a journey, and it was almost meant to be. But I was actually supposed to be there. I had my own investment in this, and for that, it's just like it's come. I don't know how much better it could get. Like it's to actually put money into it and actually do it and see how it's affecting people is the ultimate end goal, I guess you'd say. So it's. I mean, I also donated to when the floods happened down there, to when it was really serious. They were trying to get helicopters in and out. I kind of donated to things like that. Again, I wasn't there. I was just helping it from afar. So to actually, to be involved and see where your money's going and your investment is, there's no better feeling. And I just highly recommend it. If anyone gets the opportunity to do it, jump at it.
Yeah, thank you. G'day, Roy.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good, bro. I really appreciate that, because it's one of the hardest things we've got to do is to build money to keep doing what we're doing. We need the fuel to continue this mission. But the thing that I love most about what is so important is when people invest in Business with Smiles, that they are actually a part of it. That they're not just putting money into something and then feeling great about their investment, but they also feel amazing in themselves when they actually get to tangibly touch what we do.
And I'll say that I'll change that word from investment to donation, because that's what I felt I was doing. I wasn't investing in per se. I donated, and there was a result that came from it. So that's where it was a gift and a donation. So I wasn't.
Can I add to that and say that I think investment, it was a good word, because it wasn't just money that's invested; it's the feelings that we gave and the feelings that we got. And I think volunteering, they say, is it's a gift, but it's a two-way gift. It might be a gift to what we did for the people there, but the gift that we got back, the feeling that we had. Giving money, yes, you feel good, but when you're able to, do that, but also put yourself in there as well, that's when you really receive the greatest. And I think, as you said, Scott, the more people who can get behind it and think, well, how can they invest themselves into humanity and into their community? I see it very much as an investment.
Yeah, true.
Well, I appreciate that, because John was part of the Mullumbimby community, and to go back in there and to give heartfelt thank you, like, I can't imagine how amazing that would have felt.
Yeah. Well, it didn't occur to me yesterday morning that this was my community for 2 years, and here I am back again, and really understanding what they're going through, because I understand the areas that happened in. I understand the population down there, and they're doing it bloody tough. So, it made it even more poignant to actually think, well, I'm actually helping them, that I have a direct connection to.
And I love that because that's one of the things that we talk about a lot, right? Is about community, big impact on small areas, rather than having a small impact over a big area. Because we stay local, we stay in our communities. Like we constantly talk about communities in the Campfire Project and in the Business of Smiles, because that's where our support is. That's where we can get our most support. You know, like the socks, black dots represent our dark days, the yellow, warm winter sun. That's our community during the dark days. And I've seen that over and over and over again with what we've just done. Like the government's doing their bit, but I think they're a little bit of a loss to how to handle some of these things. But it's the communities driving the change and the reinvigoration of the business, of the people. That's for me was what was so inspiring. There's a gentleman down at Camp Conacher who runs that, Craig. Oh my God, what an amazing man, and the way in which he's doing. He's got to do things on the fly. Things are adjusting consistently. Has people coming. It's had thousands of people come through his camp. It's a school set up for school camps, and people are coming through, and he's adjusting consistently to all the different opportunities. People coming in with pets, people coming in with different needs, people coming in that were, don't have the social communication skills. And then they get thrown into a camp environment and they have to communicate for the things they need. And he's adjusting to all this. So it's all the stories around the people that are supporting them that are all coming from these communities. It is just phenomenal. Like the one thing that for me that is well and truly alive more than anything else is the human spirit. Human spirit for me is just electric. What people are doing for one another and the way in which people have consistently talked about the people that have helped them. Like one guy we're having a chat to, for weeks after he'd been flooded out and he's back cleaning up, for weeks after, stuff was coming back to him he thought he'd lost, where people had taken it away and cleaned it and brought it back for him. Like, how amazing is that? Like, just beautifully amazing things. Well, so I'm gonna keep this a little bit shorter than usual because I'm actually pretty exhausted, to be honest. It's been a very big opportunity, and I've still got a lot more to play out with these conversations. Being that we've been there together, being that we've brought this all together, and like we've all played a beautiful part in this. Everybody who supports us, everybody who sits in the Campfire Project, everybody who watches what we do, everyone buys a pair of socks. We're all part of this big opportunity called the Business of Smiles. I'm going to ask each of you one last question. What would you like to see happen with the Business of Smiles? Alan?
Well, just like the Campfire Project, it's all about seeing it grow in size. More people connecting in communities, not just locally, not just when there's a disaster and we're trying to get over that, but that just being the way that they are on a daily basis with the people around them. Taking that time to understand that if somebody's reacting in a certain way that they may not like, realizing that there is another story behind that, and taking the time to find that out instead of, as we see it on Facebook every day, people jumping in, somebody makes a comment, and people take sides straight away. As they say, on average, when somebody mentions something, it takes 19 seconds before people jump in and give advice. I'd like to see that stop. I'd like to see people stop the way that you do when you talk. You take that time to stop and think and discern what's really going on and what you should say. I'd like to see more people doing that on a much bigger scale, and that then to become infectious.
Mm-hmm. Love that. Thank you, Papa. Maz?
Mate, Fred Hollows had an ambition to globally provide a relatively small operation for people all around the world through a .org that would help people see. I'd love to see the Business of Smiles get government funding that would begin with a semi-trailer in every state, being able to go around from community to community as a starters. But I would love to see something along those lines where it just continues to just globally catch on like a fire around the globe in all its various ways, just helping people to reconnect. And to feel as though that they matter. Love to see that. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
That's a beautiful world to live in, I would have thought.
It's idealistic, but it's possible.
It is. Thank you, Muzz. John.
I just want to see it grow, but retain the heart and grow organically. And even if it's a team of people all around Australia just doing what we did and connecting with the people they're doing it with, but also the communities as a start. But I want it to be huge, but not corporate. I want it to be, we need backing, but it still needs to retain that, that essence of grassroots heart and not become just some business that loses that. So it's a challenge, but I think if we get the right people involved, that. But I mean, I just think what we did was so much fun, and people can get involved with that and do it, and still spread the message, and how they get compensated to do it, because can't have people volunteering 24/7, but I think it's a challenge and an opportunity to try and work out how we can get that vision out there just on a broader scale and all around Australia, whether it's in the remote communities, it's not just the communities that have experienced hardship like yesterday that experience hardship and struggle most of the time. So I think you're on the right track. It's just about getting it out there more, and people will come on board. I have no doubt. I mean, the amount of connections and coincidences we experienced in those 3 days is just incredible. And it's just through talking to finding the right people, or them finding us. Not that we were looking for them. They were coming to us, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is. And thank you, John. Like this young bloke, no, I'm not so young bloke, had a vision from Frankston that a pair of socks could change the world. I felt it could. So from my heart to yours, thank you all three for making this bloke from Frankston's dream become a reality. But more so giving me the opportunity to touch hearts, yours and mine, and everyone else we're engaged with along the way. love what we're doing. I love feeling the connection. Real connection with. Can't thank you enough for being a part of something so special. It's time to reconnect. Time to bridge the gap. Time is now. I'm doing it with a smile. Thank you, smilers. Thank you, campers. Thank you, amazing human beings. Thank you to 3 men that are now so much closer to the journey we took together. Love all 3 of you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, campers, smilers, and amazing humans. Take care. And Shorty and I will have a wrap up. I need a break. I'm cooked. So, but I will have a wrap up for either Sunday or Monday. So, thank you so much, and thank you so much, guys. Okay.
Welcome. Yeah.
Where is that?